Okay, so this is my review of WandaVision episode 5 on a very special episode. Now, what's incredible about this episode is it's another incredible episode following last week's great episode, and the momentum just keeps going here. But what really stands out to me and works in this episode is that it finally hits a great balance between what's going on outside of Westview and what's going on inside of Westview, meaning we're seeing sitcom scenes blended with their scenes in real time with Monica Rambeau and Sword. But what also really worked well is it beautifully hit a midpoint here thematically. That's actually shown when we see Wanda say to the twins, we can't rush age in life because it's convenient, and we can't reverse death just because how sad it makes us. So what I mean by being that midpoint thematically is that writing wise they're having that line written because it's the point where our main character in Wanda actually says out loud what she's gonna have to realize herself, and I think it's telling us what she will eventually accomplish by the end of this show is when she's gonna understand this theme she's telling to her twins and process it. And what this episode did really well is it complicated things even more, because last episode painting Wanda as the antagonist, now we're really seeing Wanda's not the antagonist, but she has all these powers and they're being controlled by something else clearly. And what's great is they have this character of Tyler Hayward being the complete opposite of a Monica Rambeau, where Monica sees this side of Wanda now also being a victim in the situation where Tyler's just this bonehead that is just looking at it black and white, that he calls her a terrorist. But Monica's a really good protagonist because she's not just this by-the-numbers hero trying to just take down whatever she sees as a threat. She sees more into the situation. And I think there's also some political commentary here where the scene they send a drone in and Tyler says to shoot at Wanda is just showing you how someone who's not a trained professional in something like this can really screw things up and make things worse, where Monica was going with the professional approach by talking through to Wanda. And that shows here when Wanda actually comes out of Westview, confronts Sword, and Monica's like, I know deep down you see me as an ally. I'm trying to help you. And she's right, and Wanda sees that deep down, and that's why she obviously points the guns at Tyler Hayward, who is the idiot here. But you're getting a lot of answers here while having new mystery, and those answers clearly are like Monica's line saying, I don't believe this was an act of premeditated aggression, talking about Wanda, and that by the end of the episode, before we get this big reveal of you-know-who, which we'll get to, when that doorbell rings, Wanda's like, that wasn't me. And she has a line, I don't know how any of this started in the first place, to Vision. And Vision right now has his doubts about how much Wanda really knows and how much she's actually causing all of this, which is going to have to be made through from Monica to Vision at some point, because they're setting up right now this inner conflict between Vision and Wanda. He's trying to help her, but he's not fully believing her here that she's a true victim here. But that's what's so interesting is they're going to have the person she's grieving in Vision help her work through her grief of him, which is really cool concept and just is a tribute to how good this writing is. I absolutely loved in this scene when Vision confronts her that the world of this sitcom still trying to fighting to get through Wanda with the credits still playing. It was so great having those two forces go against each other. And they moved the plot forward really well this episode, with Vision really now figuring this out and what's actually going on. So it's just going to really push things into overdrive. But having these mysteries still coming in, like what's the bigger source here of controlling Wanda and her powers, and this mystery of why are there no other children besides these twins? So I really love to hear your guys' theories on that down below. And like I've said, the attention to detail is incredible by everyone on this team working on the show, from production design, the writing, the music, amazing 80s theme they think of here. All the theme music for each era they're hitting is just awesome and hysterical. And Elizabeth Olsen really needs to be considered for an Emmy here already, because she's pulling off something I don't know how many people could actually pull off in this type of role, from jumping into this brainwashed self, doing these different errors perfectly, hitting all the beats, and then playing, like we saw here, the real Wanda we get. She's doing the accent again. She's really angry. So it's just a range of emotions she has to hit, and she's killing it. But that's also hit on now is what Wanda has to correct about herself for her character to grow by the end of this, is because she's trying to make the decision for Vision not to face what's outside of Westview, like she says, and he's like, you can't make that choice for me. And Paul Bettany has a really great moment to shine here when he's saying the line, I can't remember my life before Westview, I'm scared. Really good. There's so much horror played into the show, which I love, and it's creepy. That comes in that line, but it also comes in this scene when Vision's at work and he's figuring it all out and everyone's kind of bugging out and they get the message from Darcy Lewis. That was just crazy. But that's what's so cool is you get so many different types of genre playing in this show. And with these big effective emotional moments with Vision and Wanda in particular in this episode, that only comes through being show format, which I think is so exciting because the MCU has such a great track record, but for them to actually now do this in show format, it's just going to be able to hit bigger emotional beats than the movies ever could, and we're already seeing that. And now remember, what feeds into this belief that something else is controlling Wanda's powers is that she says to the twins in the middle of this episode how her brother's far away and that she has a brother, and then of course by the end the brother appears, so something's listening and making this happen. So it's huge we see Pietro because, one, it's Evan Peters playing him, who played him in the Fox versions, and now that MCU has the rights to the mutants, this is huge, and it's addressed because Darcy Lewis says the line, wow, she recast her brother in the sitcom, so we don't know if they're going to keep it as Evan Peters, if they keep this Quicksilver thing going, or if it's just for the version we see in the sitcom world, but it's huge because it's the first time we're seeing a Fox character version in the MCU, and it makes you so excited. X-Men's my favorite Marvel content, so I've dreamed of MCU taking care of it and doing it, and this definitely has got to be the show that's going to lead us towards something mutant. And it makes you excited to see what other Fox actors are going to come over to play their characters in the MCU. But it's just exciting because you know now mutants are coming in, and there was also this hint of Fantastic Four in this episode when Monica talks about an aerospace engineer. Could that be Mr. Fantastic himself of the Fantastic Four? That's also really exciting. And just a gold humorous line here to end the episode with Evan Peters saying, who's the popsicle, looking at Vision. That was great. So this is a brilliant episode. I'm giving it a 9.7. I would say just equally as great as last week. They're both just spectacular, and it's just so exciting each week, waiting for WandaVision to come out. Comparing it to my opinion, the overrated Mandalorian on Disney Plus, this is their best show. It's way more enticing, and the writing is just spectacular. Every line means something. Even the quick jokes have some kind of reference to something in the MCU. There's so much effort here, and it moves the plot on way quicker than Mandalorian, and actually isn't circular. It's actually something of mystery and keeping you enticed of what's going to come next week. Let me know what you thought of this episode down below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. I read every comment and try to respond as many as I can. Please make sure to subscribe so you don't miss one of my reviews of WandaVision. I also am reviewing the show Servant at the moment, in your honor. I also do a bunch of celebrity interviews, so you don't want to miss any of those. And please follow me at Steve Varley Show on Twitter and Instagram for more of me. And I'll see you next time.